Hi, I'm Ken Rockwell, who born and raised on Long Island. I like to take a lot of pictures, and through some mysterious twist of the internet, I'm now known intergalactically for my talk about cameras. I got into photography. I was about 5 years old, and I just wanted to take pictures. My first camera was a plastic, crappy 126 Instamatic Clickomat brand camera. And from that, I stepped up to a GAF, and then eventually to the Kodak Instamatic. that's the honest truth. Nikon D40, because it's the cheapest and it's the best, so game over. You know? You know, the best recommendation is always asking them what they want to do, because no one really wants to get into SLR photography. Most people want pictures. There are a certain section of hobbyists that want to buy a lot of cameras, and we love them, but they don't really take pictures. But they want cameras, not pictures. But you know, the D40 does everything anybody needs. When I go on vacation, if I want to bring that, I bring a D40. I'm away for a week on vacation here in New York, and I got just nothing but point and shoot. I'm cool. If you're shooting sports for a living professionally, then of course you'd buy a hotter camera. But for normal people who want pictures of their family, their friends, vacation, their kids playing sports, I think the D40's, especially because it's very lightweight and very inexpensive. All you really get with the more expensive camera is more to have to carry around and more features you'll never figure out. Yeah, the lens that comes with it is great. And if that's not good enough for you, Nikon's little $250 55 at 200 VR is marvelous if you have to get closer, if you're shooting sports or something. And you're done. You know, I like Canon because I can figure out how they work. I pretty much would say go to the Canon rack and ask yourself, how big a screen do you want? And what range zoom lens do you want? And do you or do you not want a little peephole viewfinder? And when you ask those three questions, you'll usually be led to this or that. Or you know what it's not obvious on television, radio, or the internet, is Canon makes a thing called the SD. I think it's called the 780. You've got some promotional stuff out in your store. It's tinier than all their other cameras, and it's not at all obvious when you look at pictures until you go to the store and say, oh, this one's tiny. And that's also a great camera. The couple of things I'd look for is, can I figure out how to use it? When I lead a workshop, it's horrible that few people have any idea how to use their camera because there's too much junk in it. And guess what, dear readers? All those menus and stuff, if you can't figure them out, it's the camera's fault, not yours. Because the camera designers never really finish the design. So can you figure out how to use it? And if you're going to shoot sports, is the image you're seeing really the image you got? Do this in front of the viewfinder and look, and if your finger's doing this, you're good. But a lot of, like, the point and shoots, you discover it's actually delayed by a half a second. You'll never be able to shoot sports because you'll be looking at the picture a half a second after it happened. You know, a question how you define picture quality. If you mean things like ultra telephoto lenses that you don't want to have to carry around, you know, depth of field, so only one thing's in focus instead of everything, you know, that's different. Like, men and women are different. But picture quality, again, all I brought was a point and shoot for this week, and I made some, what I think are great pictures. My vision of the future is that in some few years from now, little point and shoots like I'm proudly carrying around. You know, I'm also carrying around, I got a phone, and I got an iPod, and I got my camera. Eventually, point and shoot cameras, I don't think point and shoot cameras will exist in some odd number of years because that function will be entirely included in your cell phone. And when I do my market research, which means I go to like the San Diego Zoo and see what people are shooting with, half people are shooting with the cell phone, the other half are shooting with, you know, they're carrying too much stuff. The future is cell phones, cameras. They make bad movies. I prefer the movie quality I get from a point and shoot camera or a real camcorder. The problem with the SLRs today is that the manufacturers won't tell you, well, they don't autofocus while you're shooting. So you can't actually stay in focus on something that's moving. And if you can't shoot something that's moving, why bother? So it's nice, but I wouldn't use it. You know, through my history, and I've been doing photography since I've been 5, which means over 40 years I've been doing this. Whenever a new feature comes out, I have always said, it's a stupid gimmick designed to sell more cameras. And then about 10 or 20 years after it becomes popular, I start to say, wow, this was ingenious. I can't live without it. Like electronic cameras in the 70s, I denied myself electronic cameras from the 70s through the 90s. And then when I got an electronic automatic camera, I'm like, oh, I should have gotten these 20 years ago. So today, I look at the video inside an SLR as a dumb thing because you can't focus, you can't even see what you're doing because the viewfinder goes black when you're making a video. So what's the point? But maybe I'll think it's genius. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the store.